For cheap GTA shark cards and other games, check out g2a.com, there's a link in the description, and of course use my discount code AZUO for an extra discount. Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Sam, or Chaotic, and welcome back to another GTA 5 video here on my channel. Now in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing the all-new OVERFLOT TYRANT, which as I'm making this video, hasn't been released yet in GTA Online, but it will be released very soon. The idea being that in today's video, I'm going to showcase this car and discuss 10 things with you guys you need to know about this before it's released in GTA Online. So, with that being said, let's go ahead then and get straight into things. And of course, to start things off, let's begin by discussing this vehicle's price. Well, once released, the OVERFLOT TYRANT will be one of the most expensive supercars that you can buy in GTA Online, with a price of $2,515,000, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, makes this the third most expensive supercar that you'll be able to buy in GTA Online. So the OVERFLOT TYRANT is certainly an expensive one, and of course will be available to purchase once released on the Legendary Motorsports website. Now this vehicle, of course, the TYRANT, is manufactured by the brand OVERFLOT, which in real life is known as Koenigsegg, but interestingly enough, this car isn't actually a Koenigsegg in real life. The TYRANT is based upon the Apollo Arrow. Here is an image of that being displayed on screen right now, so a completely different manufacturer, but as you can see, the similarity between this and the TYRANT in-game is remarkable. The front end and the side of this vehicle is pretty much identical. The rear of this car is a little different, but still very similar. But despite not being manufactured by Koenigsegg in real life, Rockstar have chosen to put this in the OVERFLOT category. And speaking of which, like I said, this is now the fourth vehicle that we have in GTA Online manufactured by OVERFLOT, but recently there's been a massive surge in the number of new vehicles which are now being manufactured by this brand. Originally, when GTA 5 was first launched in 2013, there was only one car in-game manufactured by OVERFLOT, that being the Entity XF, and we went over 4 years without receiving another vehicle manufactured by this brand, until the Doomsday Heist update when we received the OVERFLOT Autark. Then with this update we received two more, the Entity XXR and of course this, the TYRANT. So what was once one of the most neglected car manufacturers in GTA Online is no more. Rockstar have put a change to this with the last few updates. Anyways, moving on then to the customization options available for this car. Now, unfortunately, despite being $2.5 million, this car doesn't really have much in the terms of customization. In fact, in my opinion, the customization for this is pretty disappointing. There is very little you can actually do to this car, apart from, of course, apply the standard upgrades available for all vehicles in GTA Online. Things such as the armor, the brake, and the engine upgrades. Things you can do, though, is change the exhaust. You have options like the Hex exhaust, which was my favorite and I chose. You also got quad exhaust as well, and in fairness, the stock exhaust isn't too bad either. If you want to, you can swap out the stock hood for a carbon version of that. I personally am not a fan of carbon hoods, so I didn't change that at all. Then when it came to respring, in fairness, this car does look great anyway. It is a fantastic looking car, so this car looks great in any color you want to put on this. I went for something nice and bright. I think I went for race yellow in the end. Of course, with this being a supercar, it looks great in nice bright colors, so that's why I went for race yellow. But there's also an option with this car when customizing it to select a secondary color, and at first I couldn't work out exactly what that did to this vehicle, as there aren't any secondary panels, until I realized there are these coil springs, as you can see, just between the hood and the cab itself, and you can change the color of these if you want to using the secondary color, so I went for red. Moving on though, the next customization option is skirts, and as you can see, there are two different skirt options you can choose between, primary and carbon, so I went for primary. This car also has spoiler upgrades. Of course, this car comes with a spoiler from standard, and to be honest, it's my personal favorite, but if you want to, you can swap it out with choices between the street, track, and competition spoiler. And as you can see, at first, I wasn't really too sure which one to go for. I was very 50-50 between the stock spoiler and the competition spoiler, because by fitting a custom spoiler, you would of course get a small traction boost, even though at the moment the traction is fully maxed out, but you will get that small boost, which of course is useful in race situations. But in the end, I decided I prefer the stock spoiler, so I kept that. Now as for this car's wheels, as you guys can see from standard, it comes fitted with the Chromatic Z wheels, but they aren't the regular ones. As I'm sure you guys know, if you actually fit the custom Chromatic Z wheels and you change the wheel color, it only changes the color of the spokes. It doesn't change the color of the outer rim. That is stuck silver no matter what color you choose. But these wheels, because they're different, you can actually change the entire wheel color and not just the spokes. But you can't do it regularly. There's no option obviously of changing the stock wheel color, but if you use the eye-through glitch, which I'll show you guys in a few moments, you can change the wheel color to anything you want. But first, before I show you guys how to do that, I want to talk about the final customization option on this vehicle, the window tints. So as you guys just saw in the gameplay, I selected Limo as my window tint option. But as it turns out, by applying a window tint, it doesn't just affect the windows on this vehicle, it also affects the rear lights. So as you guys can see in the gameplay right now, I'm going to use this mod menu to show you guys the difference. So when you don't have a window tint applied, of course the rear brake lights are visible and you can see them, and when you activate the brakes or your headlights, you can see them physically. Whereas when you apply a window tint, they are not visible whatsoever. This window tint is also applied to the rear lights, which means when you're braking, you won't be able to see them light up. Of course, when you have the headlights on, you won't be able to see the lights either. I'm not really too sure if that sort of thing bothers you guys at all. Some of you guys may in fact prefer it and may have liked to have seen this as an actual feature in game, but I'm guessing this wasn't intentional and this will most likely be fixed with the release of the next update. Okay, now as promised, like I said, you can also change the stock wheel color on this vehicle if you really like the Chromatic Z wheels, and it's actually very easy, of course involving the eye-through glitch. I'm sure by now most of you guys know exactly how this is done, but in case you guys don't, this is what you want to do. So of course take the car inside the custom shop and apply any set of custom wheels. So I've chosen the cheapest from the lowriders category, the flare wheels, and then just choose the wheel color you want to apply to the stock wheels. So I've chosen black. Now from here then, what you want to do is open up your mobile device and download the iFruit app if you haven't got it already. Of course log in to your social club account, find the vehicle in the custom shop, and then choose the stock wheels and apply the changes. Now basically what that will do then a few moments later is give you an in-game text message. Once you receive that, of course turn around and go straight back inside the custom shop. It should only take a few seconds or so, and once you go back inside, you'll have the option to apply your app order, and when you do that, it will reapply the stock wheels and transfer the wheel color from the custom wheels you had a few moments ago onto those. So as you guys can see in the gameplay right now, I now have black stock wheels, and if I do say so myself, they look pretty awesome. Okay, now I'm sure you guys have already spotted this next part, but in case you haven't, the OVERFLOT TYRANT is abnormally large. It is so much bigger than any other supercar that we have in GTA Online, and you guys can see right now in the gameplay, I have it alongside the Autark, the Adder, and the T20, and you can see it is just so much wider and so much longer than these vehicles. So maybe it's one of those things which you may have not realized initially, but now it's alongside these vehicles, so you can see the size difference. It's as if this vehicle has been enlarged by 25% and isn't supposed to be the size that it is right now. I'm not really too sure though if it is intentional or whether it is, but I've got a feeling this maybe wasn't something the Rockstar intended. But you can see as I do like a bird's eye sky view, it is so much bigger than the other supercars we have in game. And because of this, you may question if the performance is affected, and as far as I'm aware of, it's not affected so much by its size, but more because of the performance issues with this update in general. I'm sure you guys know all about the downforce issues and the handling flags the Rockstar implemented with all the new vehicles in this update, and this car is definitely affected by those, but it's not too bad. So its top speed is 124 miles an hour on the straight flat sections, which sure doesn't make this the fastest supercar that we have in game. In fact, it's somewhere sort of mid-range, but like I said, I feel like the downforce issue with this update is definitely playing a part on that, and once this issue is fixed, the vehicle will be a little faster in a straight line. But speaking of which, until then, let me show you guys some straight line drag race speed tests between this and two other very similar vehicles in GTA Online. So I've put this, the OVERFLOT TYRANT fully customized, up against the X80 Proto and the Wagner. Again, again, both of those are fully customized as well. Now, this car completed the straight line drag race from one side of the airport to the other in 22.15 seconds, achieving a top speed of 120 miles an hour, which in the supercar category is fairly average, certainly very mid-range. The X80 Proto, of course, is a little faster, both acceleration off the line and overall top speed, but only just, and completed this straight line drag race in 21.26 seconds. So less than a second quicker doing this, which I know is still quite a big difference in the terms of straight line speed tests, but do bear in mind that at the moment, like I said, the Tyrant is affected by this downforce performance issue, whereas obviously the X80 Proto isn't. And then finally, as for the Wagner, one of the best track cars that we have in the supercar category, this completed this straight line drag race in 22.04 seconds, achieving a top speed of 123 miles an hour. So again, only just faster than the Tyrant, which I think is pretty impressive, especially seeing that, like I said, the Tyrant right now isn't exactly on its best game. But either way, straight line speed isn't everything, and of course performance around a track is also pretty important when it comes to this category. Well, this car, the Tyrant, has an incredible downforce. I believe it actually has the highest downforce out of any car that we have in GTA Online, with something like a 3.0 downforce, a lot more than pretty much anything in the category. So that should give it the advantage when it comes to driving around tracks, having more grip and better handling capabilities. So I did a few time lapse at this racetrack I've created down at the docks. I'm going to state, as always, I'm not that good at driving when it comes to GTA Online. In fact, as I'm sure you guys know, I'm pretty bad when it comes to doing this sort of thing, race situations and whatnot. But nevertheless, I felt that this car was actually very, very good and performed very well going around the track. It is a very easy car to control and handle very well, and completed this course in 40.27 seconds. Now, comparing this to the Wagner, which, like I said, is one of the best cars you can choose for race situations in GTA Online, it actually only just beat the Tyrant, but literally only just, beating it by just 5 milliseconds, bringing in a time of 40.22 seconds, which I didn't expect. I thought it was going to be a huge difference, because you guys may see this in the gameplay as well, but it felt like the Wagner was so much faster down the straights and through the corners, but the results certainly don't reflect that. So maybe it's the size difference which makes this seem very deceiving. Because the Tyrant is so much bigger, it seems slower than it's actually going. And again, just imagine how much better this car could potentially be if Rockstar does fix the downforce and the handling flag issues all the vehicles with this update have. It may in fact become the fastest car in-game that you can use around the track. And for $2.5 million, I'd imagine you guys would expect that from the vehicle. Anyway, so there we go then, guys. With that being said, that's pretty much it then for this video. Now, in fairness, I was expecting when making this video to have loads of negative things to say about this car, but in fairness, it's a pretty good car. I guess apart from the lack of customization and the one or two bugs and issues with this vehicle, it's not too bad, and definitely something I would recommend considering if you're looking for a new, fast supercar in GTA Online. With that being said though, guys, that's pretty much it then for this video. I of course want to get your thoughts and feelings on this vehicle. What do you guys think about the new OVERFLOT Tyrant? So if you guys could go ahead and leave a comment right now, that would of course be greatly appreciated. And if you guys could drop a like on this video as well, it would of course help me out too. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do, because I upload all the latest and the greatest Grand Theft Auto 5 content. But with that being said, that is it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.